Good evening. Thanks very much for joining us on Business 360. I'm Shireen Bhan. The headlines we're tracking for you this evening. Bulls maintain the momentum on Dalal Street. The Sensex and the Nifty hitting a record high as they enter deep into uncharted territory. Financial stocks lead the rally today. S&P Global Ratings expects India to become the world's third largest economy by 2030, surpassing Germany and Japan. Predicts India to be the fastest growing large economy over the next 3 years. Moody's downgrades its outlook on China's sovereign bonds to negative from stable, cites slower medium-term growth and rising debt levels. China's finance ministry calls Moody's concerns unnecessary. The new chairperson of the Competition Commission of India, Ravneet Kaur, says structural features make the cement market susceptible to collusion. CCI is undertaking a market study of the cement sector. Also adds a market study on artificial intelligence is next on the agenda. Severe cyclonic storm Michaung makes landfall in the undercoast. Heavy rains lashed the state. Close to 10,000 people shifted to relief camps. Met Department expects the storm to have a direct impact on other states like Telangana, Chhattisgarh and Odisha. Israel widens its attacks on Gaza. United Nations warns of an even more hellish scenario as Israeli forces push deeper into southern Gaza. Nearly 16,000 Palestinians have been killed so far, according to officials in Gaza. The United Kingdom government tightens visa laws to curb immigration, bans health and social care workers from bringing family dependents to the UK, hikes the minimum income threshold for family visas and skilled overseas workers to £38,700. New visa rules to be effective from January next year. The Union Minister of State Rajiv Chandrasekhar meets social media companies and industry stakeholders, flags only partial compliance on IT rules and deepfakes. Sources say the government has given 7 more days to companies to comply, adding that the centre may issue advisories if necessary. Well, as always, let's start with the market action, and records continue to tumble on Dalal Street. The Bulls maintaining the momentum with the Sensex and the Nifty in deep uncharted territory. The Sensex up by about 430 points today. The Nifty adding 168 points. The Nifty mid-cap up 200 points. And the Nifty Bank, which was the outperformer yesterday, up by another 580 points today. So all the indices up and about. The Nifty gaining quite closer to that 21,000 mark. Now, Prashant is standing by with the market app for the day. Prashant, the momentum continues.
Well, if you thought yesterday was big, and it was big, today was no less. Almost 50% of yesterday's gains coming in today, this Tuesday. So it turned out to be a terrific Tuesday once again. And this, by the way, when the backdrop, global backdrop was not all that great, overnight cues were kind of weakish. Asia this morning when we started was mostly in the red, but here the momentum led on. Banks, again, after breaking and closing at a fresh high yesterday, made another high, strong 1.33% gain there. You had mid and small cap indices, which kind of not sulked, but did not perform as well as the large cap indices. Market breadth was largely around 1:1. I'll start with the Nifty big gainers. Power Grid with a 5% gain was up there. Power stocks as a theme have done very well. NTPC with a 4% gain. There was BPCL, SBI, ICICI Bank. So the 2% gains up on your screen today. I mean, actually, you only had about 4 or 5 names which were down. And LTI, Mindtree, HUL and HCL Tech were the ones which were down about 1.5%, nothing very large. Adani Group stocks from the broader market, that's what basically shone through. So 3 names, Adani Transmission, Adani Green, Adani Total, 3 locked up in 20% circuits higher, and the others anything between 15 and 17, 18%. So really big move in that part of the market. You also had Shriram Properties, which did well outside of the Adani Group names. CESE was a big gainer, 8%. Radico was up 4%. You had Rallis India, which was up 10%. Inox Green, 11% higher. You had JK Paper, which was up about 7%. I could go on, but this is the largest and the most significant volume-led gainers list. On the downside, you had Honasa, which continues to sulk. It's down another 6% today. Flare, which listed recently and was down 10%, down another 4% today. ICICI Pru was down about 4%. and there was something like a Cyient, which basically, gave up yesterday 6% with a complete reversal today. New India Assurance, which has also had a terrific November, continues to pull back some of these gains. So nothing very significant, but a fair mix of both up and down. But have to say, what was up with very strong volumes as opposed to what was down, where volumes were lacking in comparison. Back to you.
All right, Prashant, many thanks for joining us. And as Prashant mentioned there, Adani Group stocks rallying in trade again. The group's overall market cap has risen to nearly 14 lakh crore rupees. This is still 10 lakh crore rupees lower than the conglomerate's peak valuation of 24 lakh crore rupees. That was before the Hindenburg report was published. 3 Adani Group companies have recouped all their losses since the Hindenburg report. These are Adani Ports, Adani Power and Ambuja Cements. The $4 billion investment made by GQG Group in Adani is now worth $6 billion. In fact, GQG gained over $1 billion in just the last 3 trading sessions. India's service sector activity expanded at slowest pace in November. This as per S&P Global, which states that India's Services Purchasing Managers Index in November fell to a one-year low of 56.5. The rating agency said that the slowdown was mainly due to a fall in new orders as well as output across sectors. But rating agencies S&P Global has predicted that India will be the world's 3rd largest economy by 2030, surpassing Japan and Germany. The agency expects India's GDP growth to reach 7% in FY27. Meanwhile, Moody's has downgraded China's credit rating from stable to negative on the back of rising debt in the country. Ritu standing by with the details on both those. Ritu, many thanks for joining us. Let's start with India and what S&P has to say.
Well, to begin with, Shaveen, the key headline is that China may no longer remain the growth engine of Asia-Pacific economy, and instead, India could take that position. That's the word coming in from their latest global rating report. Now, in that, they also say that Asia-Pacific's economic growth will be driven by South Asia and Southeast Asia, and India could emerge as the 3rd largest economy by 2030. Now, it expects China's GDP to slow from 5.4% this year to 4.6% by 24, and then edge up to 4.8% before it returns to 4.6% by 2026. The turmoil in their property market, along with the high leverage on corporate and global, local government balance sheets, is expected to remain a drag on China's economy. But on the other hand, you have India's GDP for this fiscal year, which is predicted to hit about 6.4%. That is expected to go all the way up to 7% by FY27, remain the world's fastest growing economy. India, that is, followed by Vietnam, Philippines, and the Indonesia in this region. Now, S&P says a paramount test is going to be whether India can become the next big global manufacturing hub, and developing a strong logistics framework for that is going to be very key. Unlocking the labor market potential, S&P says, is going to largely depend on upskilling the workforce here and increasing female participation in our workforce. And success in these areas is going to enable India to realize its demographic dividend. It also says that the booming digital market could fuel expansion in our high-growing startup ecosystem during the next decade specifically, and also expects a positive outlook on the automotive sector. Now, going forward, it's not just S&P that's saying that. You also had Moody's that today cut the outlook on China's government credit rating to negative from stable earlier, and it cited lower medium-term economic growth and risks from a major correction in China's large property sector. Now, Moody's has said that this downgrade reflects the growing evidence that authorities there are going to have to provide financial support for the debt-laden local government and state firms, and that poses a broad risk to China's fiscal, economic, and institutional strength. Now, China, of course, has long been the engine of growth for the world, and this current slowdown, coupled with our improving prospects, it does augur well for India. But to fill a China-sized gap in the global economy, India, of course, still has a long way to go.
Ritu, many thanks for joining us. Well, here's the action on Deal Street. Ambuja Cements has acquired more than a 54% stake in Sanghi Industries. The transaction was done at 122 rupees a share at an enterprise value of more than 5,100 crores. The Adani-led cement giant revised its open offer price from 114 rupees per share earlier. Now, 2% stake worth 238 crore rupees in Mamaearth's parent Honasa Consumer has changed hands. Buyers and sellers in the transaction are currently unknown. However, CNBC-TV18 had reported earlier that private equity firm Fireside Investments was looking to sell a 1.9% stake in the company. The other big block deal of the day, Shriram Properties, has seen its stake worth 10% changing hands. Sources tell CNBC-TV18 that a large private equity investor has exited the company in this trade. Sources also say that hedge funds and few high net worth individuals are likely to be the buyers. Now, the Competition Commission of India is conducting a market study to understand competition-related issues in India's cement sector. The CCI has found cement companies guilty of cartelization in the past and even imposed a 6,300 crore rupee penalty in 2016. In an exclusive interview to CNBC-TV18 via email, the new CCI chairperson Ravneet Kaur says there are structural features that make cement sector more susceptible to collusion. She also spoke about regulating the evolving field of artificial intelligence. Parikshit is standing by with more on the details from the interview that he did with the new CCI chief. Parikshit.
Strengthening enforcement in the cement sector, that was a priority outlined by the new CCI chairperson Ravneet Kaur. She went on to say that this market study is currently being undertaken to understand competition issues in the cement sector, and a well-functioning and competitive cement market is of utmost importance because cement is vital to many sectors of the Indian industry. Currently, this is a fact-finding exercise to develop a comprehensive understanding, see what more the CCI can do. At the same time, she made it clear that this market study is not going to be impacting any current proceedings against cement companies or any enforcement actions that are on currently. This is for a better understanding and to see how the law can be implemented better or make any changes to the law in future. As far as artificial intelligence is concerned, this was a second priority for the CCI chairperson when she said that this is an evolving field. Artificial intelligence can be used to discriminate against customers with different pricing strategies, and AI can facilitate subtle forms of anti-competitive behavior, and it may be hard to detect this through traditional tools. So this is something that the competition regulator would like to understand more. They are currently working on the contours of this study, which would be launched soon. Other important issues that the CCI is handling is the proposed digital competition law, which is before the competition, the Committee on Digital Competition Law. The chairperson did not give a timeline within which such a proposal would come into effect or what is the current status of talks on those discussions. But AI and the cement sector were two important priorities for the regulator.
Well, we'll be watching that space closely. Parikshit, many thanks for joining us. HCL Technologies' UK arm offloads its entire stake in its joint venture with US-based financial services company State Street Corporation. State Street will buy HCL Tech's stake for $170 million plus net book value. ACC shares surging to a 5-year high after its Swiss subsidiary Steiner AG said it will divest its entire stake in Steiner Construction NSA for 928 crore rupees. The deal with French construction major de Matthew Bardville is expected to be completed by December end or the beginning of next year. Union Minister of State Rajiv Chandrasekhar met social media companies and industry stakeholders today to flag concerns over deep fakes. The minister told companies that they are only partially compliant with the IT rules as things currently stand. Sources also add that the government has given 7 more days to social media companies to comply with the rules. Take a look.
Change is not something anybody welcomes with open arms. Nobody wants to change the status quo. But we are saying that the IT rules and the Act prescribes for them to make sure that the terms of use are aligned. Users on their platform are very aware of what is illegal and what is not, and that is their job to do. It cannot be government's job alone. We can't be constantly telling 600 million, 700 million Indians what is illegal and legal. It is also the platform's duty to do that. So there is, in some platforms, there is that whole lethargy. In many platforms, there's a clear understanding of what is the right thing to do, and they are adapting quickly. The ones that are slower, we've given them some more time, but certainly we've not given them any feeling that we are going to relax.
Well, that is the Minister of State for IT, Rajiv Chandrasekhar. Amazon's cloud services provider AWS has launched 4 AI products. Among these, 2 AWS design chips are expected to train AI models much faster at lower costs while consuming lesser energy. Jude Sanit spoke with Shalini Kapoor of AWS India on both the launches and what they could mean for the public sector.
For India, which is going to be a $1 trillion digital economy, it makes a lot of sense because with all these announcements, we can have Amazon Q, which is can help in code transformation, help in intelligence and using generative AI to help developer productivity, architect new solutions, and create a much better applications which can help the entire public sector. The AI for guardrails is definitely a key irresponsible AI initiative that we have, which helps in filtering the content at the model level itself, and that helps in our commitment to building the responsible AI and the models that we want to give to our customers and to enterprises.
Given that you come with all of these capabilities, further reinforced by the new product launches today, would you then feel that self-regulation would be the way forward as opposed to a blanket policy pertaining to use of AI?
So I would say that using the right tools with guardrails is the right method, and it giving that capability to the enterprises to define what those guardrails are. For example, our guardrails, it doesn't need human intervention. It can be automated, and it can be given to an enterprise to enter that what are the hate filters that they want to put in. So this is the choice that we give to our customers.
Well, that's AWS. Up next, income tax areas are on the rise, touching almost 25 lakh crore rupees in FY23. This has the tax department worried. That and more when we return. Heavy rains bound Andhra Pradesh as severe cyclonic storm Michaung made landfall earlier this afternoon. Rail, road and air connectivity have been impacted in several parts of the state. Close to 10,000 people have already been shifted to relief camps. The Andhra Pradesh government has issued an alert for 8 districts. This is the first cyclonic storm to cross the Andhra coast in 2 years. Meanwhile, in Chennai, large parts of the city remain submerged a day after heavy rains pounded coastal Tamil Nadu. The Chennai airport has resumed its services this morning. Now, Ajay Piramal, chairman of the Piramal Group, says that India is becoming a global manufacturing hub. Speaking to my colleague Shivani Bazaz, Piramal added that the group's pharma business has never faced any issues with the US Food and Drug Administration and that maintaining high product quality was crucial for the sector. Take a look.
If you look at typically, and if you look at all the data of our performance, we find that the second half is much better than what it is in the first half. That's how the nature of our business is. And we will maintain that same rate. CDMO is competitive, but one of the advantages of CDMO I see is that there is always now people. Early on there was a lot of development and manufacturing happening in China. Now that is because of the whole geopolitical situation globally. A lot of it is moving also into India. Secondly, I think what is most important to first of all is to maintain a high quality standard. So all our plants are, whichever are serving the global customer, are FDA, US FDA approved. And I'm very happy to say that our team has worked so hard to ensure that till now we've, and I touch wood with that we've never had any significant issue with the FDA.
That's Ajay Piramal. Now, the Income Tax Department is worried about the rise in tax arrears. In FY23, the total outstanding arrears almost at 25 lakh crore rupees. Timsy standing by with more details. Timsy, what is the Tax Department's view?
Well, as you rightly mentioned, the Income Tax Department has expressed concerns over rise in tax arrears. According to sources, income tax arrears as on 31st March 2023 stood at 24.51 lakh crore rupees as against 22.98 lakh crore rupees a year ago. The Tax Department aims to reduce tax arrears by 40% of the total tax demand arrears this fiscal, targeting to raise a minimum collection of 2.0 lakh crore rupees from the arrears this fiscal. The Tax Department has directed officers to take concentrated efforts to reduce the arrears at the earliest. The tax arrears are usually the unpaid taxes by both corporates and individuals. They also include demands in litigation or under dispute, and arrears rise as disputed unpaid demands get carried forward every year with interest and penalty. When it comes to the top 4 regions with highest arrears, Mumbai tops the number with arrears of 6.97 lakh crore rupees, which is about 25% of the total country's arrears, followed by Delhi at 4.21 lakh crore rupees, Gujarat at 1.65 lakh crore rupees, and Tamil Nadu at 1.62 lakh crore rupees. Let's see whether the taxman is able to meet the target of recovering 40% of the total arrears or not. Back to you.
All right, Timsy, appreciate you joining us. That's Timsy Jaipuria. And with that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Business 360. Do stay tuned to CNBC-TV18. There's a lot more coming up. We're right back with you after this short break.